What's up, everyone? Dave the Data Dude. Today we're going to be talking about an introduction to rank. We're going to be talking about how you can use it in your data frame to sort your data from highest to lowest and how you can use that both numerically and alphabetically. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's import Pandas as PD. Let's import our Pokemon CSV to our data frame and read the first 5 rows just to make sure everything looks correct. So the way we're going to access this is we just say df and then a column and we'll say hp.rank. And we're going to look at all of the options that we have available to us. Axis, method, numeric only, NA option, ascending, and percent. So we're not going to look at all these. We're just going to look at a couple of these and see what it does. So if we type in hp.rank, you'll see what it does is it gives us a ranking of the highest to, or the lowest to highest HP. So you can see here that ascending equals true, so it's going from lowest to highest by default. So it's in our theory, in our data frame, we would know that to be lowest to highest because you'd want more hit points than less. So this would be your lowest to highest, and this 0 index is for Bulbasaur. For HP, he is 121.5. Well, how does that make sense that it's 121.5? Because it is the average of its positional index in the ranking system. So let's take a look at what that might look like in a more scaled down version of our data. So let's take df1 equals pd.data_frame because we're making our new data frame from scratch. And we're going to just do column 1. And we're going to just say 1, 2, 2, 3. We're going to say df1 column 1 dot rank. So we see we have 1, 2.5, 2.5, 4.0. Because what it did is because there was a tie here with 2, it said, okay, so this is the 2 rank. And then there was a tie, so it said, oh, well, there's a 3 rank, but it's also a tie with a 2 rank. So I'm going to take the average of those two and say that is its rank position. So if we had put 2 here, then 3, it would say 3, right? Because it would say 2, 3, 4. The average of that is 3. So that is how it comes up with this number here. And you can see it's set to average by default, right? Right here, method equals average by default. So if you were to take method and say min, you would see that it's set to 2 now, right? Because it's 1, 2, oh, but there's a tie. Oh, but there's a tie. Well, that's the end of the ties. The minimum value of the ties is 2. So it sets that to 2. So this is a way that you can take your data, and if you have ties or if you have anything that is the same, it will automatically let you know that, okay, these 3 tied, and the minimum they could have been was 2nd place or 2nd. Similarly, with max, you can do the same thing. It was 1, 2 tie, 3 tie, 4 tie, so it's going to be 4 because that's the max value the ties could have had in the ranking index. Okay, so that is what that will do, and you can do the same thing with ascending equals false, and it'll do everything in reverse. It would just be this is the highest, so it's 1, then you have your tie, so it would be 4, and then your 1 would be the lowest because it's ascending, so it would be last, and that would give it rank 5 in the index. So let's take this column 1 and replace it with numbers and show how it just is able to do it with numbers or letters as well. A, B, B, C. All right. So you can see here it did the exact same thing. You can change this to C. It's the exact same as using with numbers. It just does it alphabetically instead of numerically. So if we had another column here, and let's say that this column is a column of integers, right? We would say 1, 2, 3, 4. And we came down here and looked again at our options that we have. You see that you have an option here for axis equals 0. So if you said axis equals 1, which would basically turn it into a row counter, you will see that it's going to fail because we're not supposed to do a column call for it, right? Because now we're going across the row instead of down the column. So you see it's 1, 1, 1, 1 because it only looked at column 2. right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't have any sort of like in that row, there's nothing to match it. So if you said 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you made another column that said column 3, 1, 2, 2, 4, right? Or whatever. You can see that now it's saying, okay, so tie, there was a tie. 2 comes before 3, so that would be 2, or 1 in the rank index for that row, 2 for the rank index of that row, and then it's a tie, so it would be 1.5 again. Okay? So that's how you can do it with horizontally. Now, if you wanted to, you are able to ignore numeric options only. However, you will need to make sure that you do it in such a way that the data will be the same data type. So you can't compare like strings and integers. You have to compare string to strings and integers to integers. So what does that look like? So we can see here that basically we set it to 0, which said do it for the entire data frame. And it's saying column 1, it's doing a numeric ranking, right? Numeric ranking, numeric ranking, numeric ranking. And then if we came in here and said numeric only equals true, it would only do the columns that have numbers in it. Or numeric only equals false, it would do it with everything. Okay? So you can do it both horizontally, you can do it vertically, you can do it with integers, you can do it without integers, and you can get an idea of how your data is ranked both numerically or alphabetically. Now, the last thing we want to talk about, and this is going to be a little bit of a bonus, it's a little bit more advanced. I feel like if you've been keeping up with the course, you've got a decent idea of how to work with a couple of these additional functions for chain functioning. So we're going to go back to our Pokemon CSV, and we're just going to say df.groupBy, and we're going to say group by type 1, and then we're going to use the total column because that's just a summation of all the other stats that the Pokemon would have. And then we're going to say rank, and we're going to say ascending equals false because we want to know the highest to lowest because the higher is better in this circumstance. So what this is going to do is it is going to take the type 1 of our data and group them together, and by those groupings give us of the total the rank. I want to say that again. So we're going to group by our type 1, so all of our grass, all of our fire, all of our different types, and then of the total column, it's going to rank them. So we're going to assign this as RN for row number, rank number, however you want to think about it. And we're going to see, okay, now we've got a whole bunch of numbers over here for our ranking system. So what we're going to do to make it a little easier is we're just going to take a look at the grass type. So we can see just kind of a scaled down version of this. df type 1 equals grass. Okay, so we see here we've got only our grass type. There's still about 70 rows. So let's narrow it down in the sense of only looking at the sort value from top to bottom. So we're going to say sort values. All right. So we see 1, 2, 3.5, 3.5 because they were probably a tie, and they were. And then 594. So 630. This this Pokemon is going to be ranked number 1 because of the grass types. It has the highest total, and then Venusaur has got the second highest, and then I guess these are 2 different types of this Pokemon. Maybe I'm not exactly sure. So, but they're tied at 600. So they got a rank of 3.5. Because we're doing the average right now, remember, because it is set to default of, oops, that's rank, sorry. In the rank here, we set it to, it's set to default of average. Okay, so that is how you can start using your rank system in your data frames. If you had a series of, you know, in your data frame you were looking at HR, payroll, or something like that, you can see by department who has the highest salary. You can see by which manager might have the most sales or anything like that. But this is how you can take your data and rank it so that you can see in an orderly fashion your top bits of data. Like and subscribe. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments. Also, leave us a comment if there's anything that you would like to see so that we can keep bringing you quality content that you enjoy. Thank you very much.